This sequel trilogy battle should have been over in seconds. And also, how did Palpatine magically scale up the Star Destroyers to ×2 size? Why didn't the capital ship turn over and let the rebel scum fall to their deaths? I'm sure even you had a question similar to these after seeing the movie. So today I'll determine whether all of these inconsistencies are valid or explained in lore, going from the backstory of how Palpatine survived to even the director's notes on the film and the behind the scenes documentary.
I've waited so many years. I can wait a little longer.
The first big inconsistency with this battle as a whole is the fact that when the Resistance fleet arrives, it is a measly force of only 31 ships in total, so why aren't they immediately blotted out from the sky by the massive cannons of the 1,000 plus xyston-class Star Destroyers? Oh, and I'm sure you'll say the ships probably just maneuvered around them, but that still doesn't explain how on top of this, there were an unimaginable amount of TIE daggers, the dogfighters of the Sith Eternal fleet, engaging with them from all sides as well. Problem number 2 is, like I mentioned earlier, how come when the fleet guiding signal was transferred from the navigation tower to the steadfast capital ship and Finn along with the rest of the Resistance ground forces land on the hull of the Star Destroyer, this raises up some interesting questions. 1, would it even be possible to land on a Star Destroyer hull like this? And 2, why didn't they just turn that bad boy over? Well, the first one actually does make more sense than you think, because really on a breathable atmosphere like this, where they don't appear to be too high enough off of the ground to be lacking breathable air, they should be able to move around the ship. And while yes, there are shields, they are more designed for oncoming laser fire than stopping a landing craft from entering the vicinity. Now I would say the other is more of a problem, as it is true that these ships could do pretty drastic maneuvers, as is seen in The Empire Strikes Back when Han flies right through some Star Destroyers, making them almost collide.
Take evasive action!
Third on the list of problems, which I feel like a pretty annoying prick for saying, not gonna lie, but ignoring my insecurities, we have the confusing question of why didn't Rey get crushed under the surface of Exegol after all of the Star Destroyers came crashing down? I really don't know if there's a good answer to this other than plot armor. But they're obviously directly under the battle, as we can see from the moment when Palpatine fires Force Lightning into every allied ship, which means that not only should Rey have been crushed, but also Palpatine is kind of an idiot here because these ships would have probably come down on him too. And another little problem with the battle that I kind of find funny is that after the Steadfast was destroyed and the navigation signal for the rest of the fleet was broken, the Resistance still had to deal with the remaining ships trapped on Exegol, meaning that they were basically just flying around in circles for hours afterwards, blowing up all the super lasers of the many ships. Now I'm going to briefly talk about the backstory of how Palpatine survived Return of the Jedi in the Disney timeline before you rage quit this video, as well as how the fleets and battle were orchestrated. When Palpatine died in the Death Star 2, he used the teachings of his master Darth Plagueis to send his subconscious into a clone body of him made by the Sith Eternal using Camino-esque technology. While he did wake up on the Sith Citadel on Exegol, his form was not permanent and was constantly decaying due to his immense dark side power, similar to someone like Darth Sion. Also, Sith cultists gathered at Exegol and vowed to be loyal to the Emperor, wanting to rebuild the ancient Sith Empire and create from that a new one. To explain how the fleet of Star Destroyers was ever even made in the first place, no, it wasn't just dark side magic, and Palpatine magically pulled them out of the earth using the dark side. Really, the Sith Eternal stirred for a generation and raised children in secret military camps, and also built war machines in secret factories and shipyards. These cultists served on executive boards like Kot and Trala Engineering, and also Sinyar Jameis Fleet Systems, which let them funnel parts through subsidiaries in Exegol, and also they created Sith troopers who were fanatically loyal to Palpatine. And honestly, I wonder how bad the minimum wage is at Dexter's Diner for all these people to become Sith cultists. I mean, bro, just get a job cleaning the Death Star floor. Oh, wait. So going back to the problems with the battle, I briefly wanted to mention the xyston-class Star Destroyers. Would they really work? So as it happens, the Imperial II class Star Destroyer had a length of 1,600 meters, whereas the Xyston was 2,400 meters, and for us Americans that's 5,000 feet to nearly 8,000 feet. And keep in mind that other than the axial super lasers, these ships were basically identical to the Imperial class ones in every way. So I mean, what did they do? Did they literally just scale these guys up? Is the bridge just like really big and all the guys sit in these huge chairs and stuff? I mean, I don't know, man. We gotta get answers to these, because like either that is the case, or all of the windows and like rooms are just smaller and the model of the ship is bigger. But the best explanation I can give for this is where in Wikipedia it is stated that they were scaled up from Imperial Star Destroyers, and the conning tower was situated among an armored superstructure. So the ship was actually given effective automation systems to lower the amount of crew needed, but even with this, there were still 29,000 crew members on board, meaning that in total, this fleet had, well, that's just some simple math. Okay, I'll admit I despise math. I mean, talk about the worst subject ever, but still, this math is easy. 29,000 times 1,000. Hey, just add 3 zeros onto the end of it. I'll give you 5 seconds to solve this problem, and tell me what you wrote down in the comments to see if you got it right. Okay, time's up, because the answer is 29 million. Yes, that is correct. Good job. So that's a lot of people, even more than the Death Star with only 2 million. Also, going back into the lore and backstory, it seems that the reason these Star Destroyers had such a primitive design dating back to the Empire is because they were actually constructed in secret in Exegol by Palpatine during his days as Emperor of the Galaxy and before his first demise in the Disney continuity. Our last section to go over is whether or not the Citizens fleet makes any sense, considering that Lando spent only about a day rallying up people in the core worlds and was able to amass an incredible 14,000 different ships, civilian and military, leading to a chaotic battle. Yet, I feel like this might be one of the only parts of this battle today where I feel like it could always be explained by the idea that Lando met with a few important leaders or New Republic figures that then talked to their own citizens and managed to rally up that through their messages to their many allied planets. So in short, while Lando probably met with a good bit of people, no, he isn't Santa, and he probably was helped by many of the other leaders he talked with. So yeah, I feel like this is the only one that is pretty explainable, even if it seems outlandish at first. Also, J.J. Abrams says that in regards to the battle, having humans and human-sized creatures aboard a Star Destroyer and a cavalry charge was too fun of an idea not to have, which, not even gonna lie, isn't that bad of a reason. So yeah, some of these were obviously not very well explained, and some of them could actually be explained. Hey, it is what it is. The point is that you can still have some fun with it, I think. But anyway, that's it for this video. You can subscribe if you want to. There's also a join button, which is completely optional, but would truly help me out and the channel. Oh yeah, and we're like basically a quarter of the way there, so spread the word for that. And these types of videos come out every Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I also post shorts on Saturday. But yeah, see ya.